What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be discussing what you might expect for our final game of the season. We now know it is going to be the Chicago Bulls versus the Miami Heat in the play-in tournament. We are the 9 seed, they are the 10 seed. That is confirmed, it is locked in, and that's what we have to look forward to after our final game of the season. But with that being said, there's still a lot that can be discussed. For example, what will the Chicago Bulls do in that game? Are we going to rest players? Are we going to start everybody? Are we going to try and have a little bit of mixture of both? Maybe start some guys and rest other guys? Or are we going to see the Chicago Bulls go fully at it, play healthy, everybody there getting the same sort of minutes? Are we going to treat this like a playoff or a play-in tournament type of game and give everybody the kind of experience they need in that type of atmosphere? Or again, are we gonna play it safe? Are we gonna allow things to happen a certain way? A lot to discuss, right? So let's get started. Let's discuss it in this video. Before we get any further, if you liked the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and/or subscribe if you are new. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts about these Chicago Bulls and their next game. What do you expect? So we'll be facing the Philadelphia 76ers in our last game of the season. Now we also should discuss what Philadelphia have to play for. Absolutely nothing. They don't have anything to play for. And, they could maybe try to lose an extra game to get themselves into a higher draft pick scenario. If that's a possibility, then maybe you will see some Philadelphia players rest. I'm assuming they're all going to rest anyway for that last game of the season. But with Philly, you are kind of playing a team that's in the bottom of the barrel at the moment. There's barely anyone healthy, barely anyone that wants to play at the moment, and Philly kind of have a crisis on their hands in terms of what their future is going to look like. One good draft pick can probably save their seasons and save their franchise, and maybe it doesn't, and they have to make some big changes in terms of Joel Embiid or Paul George or somebody else. I don't know. But yeah, you don't get much with Philadelphia is what I'm trying to say. So that's why it's mainly going to be about the Chicago Bulls. What can we expect from this Chicago Bulls team? Well, I've kind of mentioned the two options, but I want to talk about the first option, which would be resting guys. Normally, in an ideal situation, I wouldn't be talking about Chicago Bulls players resting for this game. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because we did see players rest against the Cleveland Cavaliers in a game that actually mattered towards our seeding. A tactical loss, as they like to say, even though I think it was not tactical at all and it was rather stupid. But either way, it was a tactical loss, according to what people say, and we rested guys so we could play that back-to-back against Miami with fully healthy guys. That's what we did. And in the end, we did win the game, so I guess the tactic worked, but it's not a situation I like talking about. But this is a little bit different. We don't have anything to play for now. If we win this game, we stay the 9 seed. If we lose this game, we stay the 9 seed. So the Bulls resting players makes more sense now than it did against Cleveland. It makes more sense in the sense that we can avoid injuries. And whether you like it or not, this Bulls team has been lingering with injuries all the time, all day, every day. There's an injury concern for the Chicago Bulls. Lonzo Ball, I don't think he's coming back this season. I've got no idea. Trey Jones, listed as questionable against the Philadelphia 76ers. If there's anybody I would like to return against Philly, it would be him. So he could get ready for the playoffs. I would assume him out for the season. So there's guys that are injured, and has been guys that have been injured for a while. And we don't want to add to that list. So resting Kobe White, who's had a very phenomenal month of March and a pretty solid month of April. Resting Josh Giddey, the triple-double machine. Resting Nikola Vucevic. Guys that need to be rested, there's an argument there that they should be rested. And that is one direction we can go down. The second direction I think the Bulls could go down is simply put, we treat this as a playoff game. Now, I'm not saying that in the sense of, okay, we're going to just play our hearts out, give it 100%. We're going to play every single minute, with full speed and all this type of stuff. And, we could do the Tom Thibodeau situation where we're playing guys minutes that shouldn't be playing there. For example, you know what Tom Thibodeau did with Derrick Rose in that fourth quarter. Derrick Rose didn't need to be out there. We don't need to treat it like that, but we treat it as a playoff game, as in the rotation gets limited. So, some bench guys that you probably want to use in the play-in tournament will get the minutes, but the rest of them will belong to the starters. Yes, we do play a good chunk of minutes for the starters, but if we're winning the game significantly, then you settle for the rest. You bring the bench in, you do your thing. But if we're not winning significantly and Philly are really bringing the fight to the Chicago Bulls in that last game of the season, then at the end of the day, you treat this as a play-in tournament game, you treat this as a playoff game, and you see the game out as you normally would in those type of games. The reason why I'm bringing this up is, one, this Bulls team is a young team. And as a young team, there is a chance that a lot of these guys haven't played in that type of environment before. Sure, they might have done it in college, maybe in high school. There are obviously big games outside of the NBA. But when it comes to the NBA atmosphere, a play-in tournament game, a win or go home, that's at the highest level, almost at the highest level you can ask for. So that type of experience can maybe be practiced upon in the last game of the season. So you limit those minutes. Those bench players will now expect something like that heading into the game against Miami, and the starters will expect big minutes heading into the game against Miami. I think that makes sense. The second thing in that regard is that you just get a little bit more experience of what it's going to be like. It's not even just in the minute sense. It's in the way that it could be played. The play-in tournament games are a slower atmosphere. The play-in tournament games are going to be possession by possession. And it gives those guys just a little bit more tad experience in that regard. So, again, there's a couple of directions and ways we can mention it in that sense as well. So being a young team also can add fuel to the fire that maybe they can take those minutes. They can accept it. Maybe if we had a veteran team, we would be talking about resting everybody because we don't need to give extra minutes to veterans that have been there and done that before. But this young team can probably take those minutes, endure those minutes, and learn from those minutes. So two dynamics, two sides of the coin. What shall we choose? What do I think is the right choice? Here's the thing. I know this team is young, but we have been in the play-in tournament for the past 3 seasons. And this is no different. And there are some guys on this team from other teams that they were on that has playoff experience. Coby White has play-in tournament experience. Patrick Williams has play-in tournament experience. Nikola Vucevic has play-in tournament experience. Josh Giddey has playoff experience. Vucevic has playoff experience. Even guys like Julian Phillips and Dalen Terry had play-in tournament experience. So, look, I get the idea of wanting to play the full team. And if we actually had something to play for, like we did against Cleveland, I would implore we play our full team. This team has enough experience in the play-in tournament. Doesn't mean anything for the playoffs. I think playoff experience is much different and obviously more impactful and meaningful. But for the play-in tournament, I trust these guys to deliver on that stage or at least show a fight on that stage. So I would rest everybody in this game. I would give the bench players the best chance possible to have a run out, give them 20, 30 minutes, and see which bench players are going to be ready to go for the play-in tournament. Then play everybody, risk injuries, risk certain players maybe falling out of form, and then wondering whether or not that was the right choice afterwards. So I would rest everybody. I'd rest Coby. I'd rest Josh Giddey. I'd rest Vucevic. I'd rest Kevin Huerter. I'd rest all of the starting 5. In terms of the bench, I might even say I'd rest Zach Collins because he has injury concerns in previous years. Why would we want to try and implement something like that in this game that might mean nothing? I would rest guys like Dalen Terry and Julian Phillips because, there's a good chance that those guys could be used in the play-in tournament. I would start guys like Javon Carter. I'd bring some G Leaguers into the team if we could. We obviously can't rest everybody, so maybe guys like Trey Jones, if he's healthy, can come in and get some minutes under his belt. But I would rest as many people as we possibly can based on their priority in the team. Do you guys agree with that? Again, it's game 82. It's in the afternoon for crying out loud for most of you guys. It's 3 a.m. in the morning for me. I ain't watching that game live. No. Yuck. Ugh. But anyway, I think we're all headed into all of our minds are in the play-in tournament. So yeah, I don't necessarily feel that bad about potentially resting players in this game. Definitely not compared to Cleveland. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.